Woohoo! Well, welcome back to Butcher's Garage. Today we're working on something different. We're not working on a crapped out Mercedes. We are working on the Porsche today. We got a 91, 911, classified 964 for you non-911 aficionados. It's what's unique about this car is it actually has a 993 engine in it. So I'll show you that in a second. So what we're doing today is I'm going to change oil, and this is probably like a $600 oil change because it is so it's so difficult, and it's going to take me hours and hours and hours. And you say, Butch, how can it take hours to change oil? Well, I'll show you why here, because you got two oil filters, you got hoses in the way, you got to move air pipes, you got to drain the sump. So what I've done so far is I've just I've started up. I'm going to let you hear it right now. This is to get oil nice and warm. Oil up to temperature. You can see the sump's full too. The oil's just getting warm. So I'm going to here. All right. So sorry about that. Had to move the convertible top. So you're going to see this is not a 964, this is a 993 engine. I'll walk you through when I get this done, but I'll show you it's definitely modified quite a bit to be a much better running car. And now I'll turn this off here so I can talk quietly to you and explain everything I did for this and start doing show you what's going on. So originally, these 964s had horrible engines. I mean, absolutely terrible. They decided to make an engine that didn't have a seal between the two cases. Well, guess what? It leaked like a sieve. And the rebuild was so expensive that I actually bought a wrecked 993 at an insurance auction. And it was cheaper to put in a 20,000 mile 993 engine than to rebuild my 964 engine. And when I did that in the process, I was able to upgrade the ECU, the exhaust, and everything else. So I'm going to now go down and show you underneath here in a second and show you all the steps to deal with this. This is on the 993. I have to use the 964 filter, but then I have to use the 993 filter too on the engine. So that's for that goes on the here on the engine side for the 964, but then the 993 engine's down way below. So very fun times. I always dread doing this oil change. It's about as fun as doing the transaxles. So let me jack it up and I'll show you what it looks like underneath. Be back in a second. Okay, so we're down underneath here. I think I'm going to show you now what we've got going on. So on like 964, you have your sump here. So of course to drain that, you actually kind of have to raise the vehicle up too. So again, doing this on a lift makes it so much easier, but I'll show you. I'm gonna have to just raise the body up a bit to get it something underneath there. Then, ooh, my valve covers look like that, make them a bit. So then we got to get underneath here and get to our oil filter, which is back up here. So we have to get that off. And it looks like I might have got the wrong filter. I think I needed the small 993 filter, not the tall. So, damn. All right, well, I'll get that out. So, yeah, I definitely have some oil leak in here. I haven't ran this in a while. Looks like I'm going to have to check. I don't drive it very much, so I'm going to have to check on a few things. So this definitely didn't exhaust. Kind of a custom exhaust here when I had the engine put in. So let me go through the steps here and drain the oil, and you also got to drain the oil out of the engine too. So that's always fun. Got to drop that out of the actual engine here. So let's start with getting the sump done first, and I'll probably tighten down all these. I'm gonna give these all a little crank on the valve cover, and got to get this tubing off here, and then we'll go from there. So let me get the car jacked up a bit and get this moving. Okay, so I drained the sump. Of course, I had too small of a container, and of course it leaked all over. So that's why this is the biggest pain in the ass job. Of course, my container. I know it wasn't big enough, so I still did it and it leaked all over. So next step is need to remove this filter here. And a little trick here. So this is pretty cool. So actually on mine, I have what's the turbo snorkel here, and what this does, it's a cold air intake. So I want to take this off here, and that's pretty nice because it actually sucks the air directly from underneath the wing, so it gets nice cold air. I actually checked the air temperatures, and it was a 10 or 15 degree difference using the snorkel. But you can only do it if you have like a turbo wing, or this is a RS America, I think. So a little trick you do on this is you actually punch a hole in it with a screwdriver, and then you run some compressed air, so then it pushes the oil out, because if you don't, you'll get a disaster of just oil everywhere, and it gets all over the engine and leaks everywhere. So it's a typical Porsche where fun to work on. So next step is to poke a hole and then get that filter off and have towels ready to catch oil, because it will leak everywhere. And I'll show you when I get done with this next step. This is a fun step. So what it is, I used a punch, and then I took it and put a hole right there, you see, and then I'm just going to put the compressed air, low PSI, and just slowly blow it out here, blowing. That's going to blow it down back in the sump and open up the sump again. That should be enough to just get that oil out of here. Go. So I'm just doing like 50 PSI. That should be good enough to get it out. So let that go, and then you might say, Butch, why does that matter? Well, if not, all that oil when I end to do it, what a horrible damn design. But you can see it's over the years it's leaked enough that it's actually just the paint's wore off. So what I do is I'll actually when I take this off, I'm going to put a towel right here in the lip and grab the oil. But really not much is going to come out now after I do that little smash thing with the filter. But then obviously I need to undo the sump again, because that drains right back in the sump. So let me take this off and I'll show you where I'm at. So look how nice that was. Just got a couple drops came out. So just make sure you don't put your compressor at 150 or 200 psi. Did that once and oil blew back out over the little rubber knobs all over the filter and made a big mess. So of course it's more fun. So yeah, so now you can just wipe everything down, clean it up, and do your usual things with the filter, put it back on, and clean up in there, and then you're done up here right now till you fill it back up, and then we'll go underneath. And I did find another 993 filter. Of course I had an extra one laying around. Keep a couple spares for everything. So let me finish up here, and then we'll go underneath. Okay, so during this again, I'd probably do the first step might be to just do the first filter, but I already had too much oil in it anyway. So now I got that oil. It only about 14 filter. So now the next step is I need to remove this line for the blower motor. That's the hot air for the engine, for the cabin. And I need to remove this line that comes from the oil cooler from up front, and that's going to leak everywhere. And then I have to undo the little connector here. And this is a special part to get Patrick Motorsports for conversion. Convert the 993 connector to 996. So it's pretty neat. I was half-ass welded before, so there are a few little things that people have to change on this. So yeah, let's. Well, when I got this part, I'm gonna take a look and tighten up these just a hair. I'll try to take a look what's going on there. And so let me take some of this stuff off so you can see what's going on, and I'll show you in a second. Okay, so next I'm gonna drain the engine oil. It's a great design. Watch what happens here. It'll just spew out right all over the air box there. So this really is not much oil in there. Look at that. That's all that's in the engine. Majority of the oil is all in the sump. So there's only, what's that look like? Maybe 2 quarts or something in the engine. So pretty interesting design. Let's let that drain a bit, and then I'm going to take off this oil line here. You can see this special part, this adapter right here that goes to this line for the 964. Again, Patrick Motorsports makes those for the conversions. And I have to take this up because I got to get the filter. The filter, I got to remove this pipe. Not a big deal. It's not like it's a gasket on there or anything. So just another step of another mess. Also, always make sure you have your a lot of rags around. This is just a mess of a job. I mean, this is just have rags, t-shirts, whatever, because oil just goes everywhere. And again, maybe it's easier on a regular 993, but people wonder why these 911s oil change so expensive. Oh, I wonder why. All right, be back in a second. Okay, now you can see this adapter. It's actually super important. The one I had before was like welded on. It was so horrible, but this one's really nice. It just inserts right in. Like I said, Patrick Motorsports makes it. Then here's this pipe you have to take off. I take it off because you see it's still hard to get to the filter. So, hey, I see the filter finally. So let me get this filter off. And I'm gonna actually probably pre-fill this filter with oil just because it does, it's nice getting oil right to the engine immediately. If not, I like to prime it. So I'm getting there. It's, getting near the last step and see how, really good times. Okay, got it off. So it's a 36 to get off that huge fitting that goes from the, I think that's actually the sump, not the cooler. I think that's why that's called the sump. That's a sump filter, if I remember right. So yeah, of course, another big mess. Everything's dripping. You got dripping from every orifice. So I'm gonna let this drip a bit, wipe everything down, and then I'm gonna just off camera, I'll tighten down those valve cover bolts just a hair. Looks like they're seeping a bit. I don't drive this much, unfortunately, so this is what a Porsche looks like unless you drive it a lot. And I think I only put on 500 miles last winter. So let me get the new filter on. I'm going to fill it up with oil and put everything back on down here, and then show you the next step. Okay, well, pretty much everything's done. I'm just adding the oil. I just want to point a few pointers here. One thing is, with the oil in these, you can't just glug it in like an American car. You got to pour it in pretty slow, so it's painful because it takes, I don't know how many quarts, but it's a lot. And I always like to use MOA. I think it's good stuff. It's an additive. Oil, I like to use Shell Rotella T6. It's a nice heavy-duty diesel oil, and a little thicker, quiets down the valves on these air-cooled engines. One last thing also is these timing chain, the timing covers can leak, and you can actually change just the grommets out on those. It's quite easy fix. And I think I did show you on the right side of my valve covers, they were leaking. These are prone to leak on those, and just heads up, don't just tighten those down thinking that'll stop the leak. Those valve covers actually will start bending over time from get hot, cold, and you'll strip out the inserts. So make sure that if you got an engine that's, I would say if you have replacement 5, 6, 7 years and they're leaking, just buy new valve covers. So I'm just going to add the oil and just prime it a bit, and then I'll show you one last video of it running with new oil in it. And again, the oil only probably had 500, 700 miles on it, but it was 2 years old. So we're doing this just due to age, contaminants, water in it. So I'll be back 1 second for the finale. Woo!
All right, so here we go. I like to get it so that it just registers on the gauge there, and it'll raise up as the engine warms up. I like to use the gauge as the measuring because the dipstick is so variable. And remember, that's measuring that's actually measuring the sump, not the oil in the engine. So that's all said and done. I guess that's your 4-hour Porsche 964 993 oil change, and the disaster it entails. Oil I used 2.5 jugs of oil and 1 MOA additive. So that's usually enough to get it where I want it. And this really doesn't burn any oil. A lot of these burn about 1,000 a quart every 500 or so. But this engine's all rebuilt too, so it's as good as it can get. It doesn't burn even a tenth of a quart. So that's all for now. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and like. And the next video I'll be doing will be on walk around on the Camaro, 68 Camaro convertible. And that's all. Adios.